Hello everyone and welcome to Saturday. So a few weeks ago, I made a vlog that was essentially about labeling your batteries, but what it was really about was little things that I've done over the years that are kind of like behind the scenes vlog stuff. Labeling the batteries was part of that. It's something that I've done for many years that a lot of people didn't know about, but I opened it up for discussion. I said, if you guys have any questions about my process, about how I do what I do, since I've done it for so long, whether it was Stephen Vlogs, Stephen Plays, Melmix, etc., let me know, and maybe I'll revisit this idea list at some point in the future. That day is today. So I was going through the comments on that vlog, and this vlog was January 14th, 2020, and the highest rated comment on there was from Sage Water Dragon, and the comment reads, "This is kind of a big topic, so I don't think that it'd work for a small vlog like this, but I've always been interested in hearing more about the process of balancing what you reveal of your life and what you don't. There are the obvious no-goes like politics, but I'm sure that there are plenty of things that we've never heard about you, the people you know, etc., despite so much of your life being documented. While very few of us are doing the kind of work that you are, more folks are microblogging/vlogging through social media than ever, so hearing about how you arrived at the balance you've arrived at would be super interesting." And that was the highest rated comment, so I decided I'm going to answer that question. The quick version is, it's been an evolution. This question basically boils down to, how do you know where to draw the line? Right? That's basically what this is. How do you know what to talk about and what not to talk about? Where do you decide what the line is? But it's been an evolution. It's not like when I started the vlog, I knew like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, but never this. And this is okay, but this isn't. It's been a natural evolution over the course of, at this point, over a decade, to try and figure out basically, to some extent, who I am, and then also the person I want to be or become, and more importantly, the people that I want to surround myself with. And I don't mean that specifically to mean like my friends. I mean that as viewers. A lot of people have made the comment over the years that our community seems very wholesome, and I love that. Like, I adore that, but that's also the type of community that I have attempted to create and nurture. I try not to bring up things that are divisive because I don't want to be the place of divisiveness. So, like you said in the comment here, politics, like that's an obvious one, and I did know from early on that I was like, I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to talk religion because these things are divisive topics. And the gist of it really between those two major things is just, that's not what I'm here for. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with someone making a political YouTube channel that discusses politics, but that's what it's there for. And everything that I have done and everything I've always wanted to do with like Stephen Vlog has always been slice of life, just always. So I can say safely from like the very beginning of the channel that I had basically made up my mind from the inception that I would never be talking about politics or religion. It was just not an important thing to me to mention because there was no reason to divide people, and instead I wanted to bring people together. That was the first thing. On that subject, I have tried, for the most part, to stay away from controversial issues like outside of politics and religion for the exact same reason. I would rather our channel be a place where people can come together and have a good time and not have to worry about there being some sort of back and forth war in the comments. And I think for the most part we've done a pretty good job. There's probably a few things over the years that we've brought up that in retrospect it'd be like, maybe shouldn't have brought that up, but nothing that was like bad. So I'm happy about that. At this point, I think the biggest arguments that I ever see in the comments are probably related to video games. And I'm okay with that. People talking about what companies did or didn't do. Cool. That's fine with me. I can take that. As far as other things that we've avoided talking about, this is kind of a weird one, but romance. Mao and I naturally do not have, and both of us feel like this, we don't really have any desire for PDA, for public displays of affection. That was just part of our actual relationship. So it's not even a thing of they're toning it down for the video. It's no, we don't do that. And our relationship is very good, and our private relationship has affection, but it's never been something that was important to me, to do publicly. So even if you were to find and ask my friends, or Stephen and Mal do anything in public, they would be no. And for me personally, everyone's different. And I'm not calling anyone out that's their thing. But when I was growing up and I was around people in high school and stuff, the public displays of affection always kind of made me uncomfortable. It always made me feel because some people really push the idea of what's socially acceptable in public. And I was I don't know, maybe just save that for home. So that's kind of been how I've lived my life. And Mao's always felt the same too. So we will, occasionally we'll hold hands, and then that's it. And I'm trying to think of the last time we held hands around other people, and it's pretty rare. And again, that's not reflective of the affection that we have at home. In fact, I would say that at home, I particularly am very affectionate. She's smiling. But that's just never been something I wanted to show. Likewise, we don't really ever talk too much about that stuff. So not only do we not really show that on video, but and again, that's a reflection of our lives, not really something that we decided to cut or not cut. We never really discuss anything beyond that too. There's a variety of different people out there doing this sort of thing, and like you said in your comments, it's not just people doing vlogging, it's people that are on social media talking about their lives or whatever. There is a wide range of people talking about a wide range of things, and we've elected to keep certain elements of our lives private, the romantic part being one of those things. I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that, the PDA thing, but then also, for me personally, so much of my life is public. More than I think I ever thought would be. And I don't regret it, but after doing this for, over a third of my life, a lot of stuff is out there, and having something that feels personal and private to me is a bit of a sanctuary. To say that I don't have views on religion or politics would be disingenuous. I'm a human being, of course I do, but I've elected not to share those. And having, being able to have that for me is nice. Not only to not create any sort of divisiveness amongst the community, but also to have that for myself. And then likewise, with Mallory, being able to share something that is explicitly between the two of us is also really nice. Now, other things that I've kept from the vlog include health. There's been a few health issues. I am, for the most part, fairly open about discussing my own health. I am much more reserved about discussing the health of those around me. I would, basically as a general rule, never violate any of my friends' privacies. So if they were having something done, there was a surgery or something like that, I would either not talk about it or be extremely vague, unless I had their permission. And then whenever it comes to family members, there's a lot of times that I have protected them just out of my desire to feel like I'm protecting my family in some way. For example, like Mao has had different like doctor's visits and stuff over the years that like it's nothing serious, but we don't talk about. It's just, checkup stuff, various normal doctor visits. Like we're not going to discuss that. There's also been illness and stuff in the family, in the extended family. We don't discuss that basically out of privacy concerns, just, for them. And I think a really good example of this actually is that sometimes I hold information to, feel like I'm protecting my family, but at some point I will talk about it to help the context of what I'm discussing. And I know that was a confusing statement that come out of my mouth hole, but what I'm talking about specifically is for the longest time, I never revealed that my dad had Parkinson's. My dad has had Parkinson's since like the vlog began. I mean, he's had it for a long time. We've seen signs of it for a long time. So he's had it for 10 years at least. And I never mentioned it, like I said, because I felt like I was protecting him, protecting my family and their privacy. But then also, it's a tough thing for him too. And I know that it can cause embarrassment for him. And that's one of the reasons that I never went out of my way to mention that. But when he started painting, that context became so much more important. And the sum of his successes was greater than the disease that he had. And it became very important for me to tell that story. I say that because that is not going to be the only thing that, at some point gets, if you want to call it revealed on the vlog. There are other things that, for privacy reasons or whatever, I'm just not going to talk about. But at some point, there may be a time to discuss these things. That's basically it. But health is another big one. So those are kind of like the four like fundamental things. There's the politics, religion, romance or personal relationships, and then health. Like these are like the tenets of things that we try to avoid. But yeah, I think that's a fairly. I'm rereading the comment. I think that that's a fairly good assessment of like why I talk about certain things, why I don't. I love the community that we've built, and it's been a long road. And I'm super ecstatic that there are so many people that have been around since, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, the whole time, 10 years ago. Like we've got a lot of people that have stuck around for an extremely long amount of time.
There's people that have been here that have known Stephen and watched Stephen longer than I did.
Yeah. There's I know that, and that's wild too, but it's true. We actually have some people that are still subscribed, that are still watching today, that have known me basically since I was doing stuff in high school, before YouTube even like existed, when you had to download WMVs off the internet. So we have a good community, and we've been able to create a certain type of content that attracts a certain type of people who are here and are just genuinely good people. And as I have continued in my YouTube career, in what it is I'm trying to make and where I'm trying to figure out where that line is, that line for me is always going to be where I can avoid conflict, avoid divisiveness, avoid controversy, to try and mold a community of just good-hearted people. So when people tell us that our community is wholesome, it's like the biggest honor to me, and I'm always going to fight to keep things that way as best I can, because that's that's what I've been working so hard to do for 10 years now. So that's how I decide, what to post, what not to post. There's very few things that are truly personal to me that folks don't know about. And most of it just comes down to the things that you've never expected to see on Stephen Blogging in the first place. I've never talked about politics and religion. I never will. It's just never going to happen. The personal relationship that Mel and I have, obviously we're not going to go into great details about that. And there are health issues that, to this day we have never discussed. And maybe there will come a day where, again, the sum of the successes are greater than the diseases themselves, and we'll discuss them. But until then, I still feel like we've done a pretty astounding job of being fairly open books about everything, I guess. And in this day and age, that's hard. I think for most people, and I'm just going to hit on this briefly before I wrap this up, because this has been a little long. I think for a lot of people, it's very difficult, especially with how heated politics have been in the last several years. I think it's very hard for people to hold their opinions in. Again, as of recent, it's been very hard for people to do that. And I've seen some, I'll call them colleagues, friends of mine that do what I do, that have historically tried very hard to stay neutral, and sometimes they fail at that a little bit. And I get it. I totally understand. Sometimes it feels like you really want to add your voice to the conversation, but I have, again, that's just been one of my strong tenets of like, I'm going to try not to do that. And I'm going to continue to, do things how I want. The vlog is ultimately a slice of life. It's about us eating dinner and petting cats and talking about video games. And I love that about it. And the people that love it too have been here for a long time. And I don't have any plans on changing anything. Yeah. Anyway, that was a good question. And we've probably answered that to like some extent in a Q&A before, but hopefully that maybe there's like an entire new generation of people that are watching the vlog for the first time, and we're curious about that. So hopefully that answers that for you. Anyway, I'm going to use this vlog now to piggyback on the stuff from the last vlog. If you have any other interesting questions related to philosophy of the channel or production stuff of the channel, hardware, software, etc., let me know. I think I am actually going to try and make that a thing in 2020, is just occasionally come back to these sorts of questions. Even if they go a little long, I think people might find them interesting and get a chance to get in my head a little bit, especially after I've been doing this for a long time. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?